guys, welcome to the video. This one's going to be a little bit different. I don't know. I never know when I'm making a video like this, if it's a good idea, bad idea, if it will resonate with people, if it won't resonate. But the idea here is that I was actually going to record this video just for my son. I have this kind of thing that I do where I record videos every so often, maybe like a couple times a year, to give to him one day, either when I'm not around or when he's adult or whatever, you know. In today's video, I was going to record this, and then I thought that maybe, just maybe, it would impact any of you guys who might need to hear a little bit of this. And it's essentially how to be happy to the best of my ability, right? I'm not a doctor, not a psychiatrist. I'm not a self-help guru. I'm clearly not a public speaker or an orator, and I'll prove that to you guys in today's video. But I am someone who's had a lot of struggles in life, also a lot of joy and a lot of happiness in life. And I wanted to share what I've learned with you guys, you know? And again, some of this may resonate with you, other stuff might not. But it's essentially like, I don't know, 12 or 13 things that I learned that really genuinely affect not just happiness, but really, you know, everything, just life in general, like giving meaning to my life personally. And especially, you know, with all the information out there on people struggling more and more and more often, again, I thought I would share it with you guys as well. So I'm a seeker, right? I think it's no surprise to those who've been watching this channel for any amount of time. I seek out meaning, purpose, you know, in life. And I'm really, really into philosophy. I've been into self-help in the past, probably, gosh, almost embarrassing to say. I've probably read like over 100 self-help books, right, in my life. But I've always been trying to kind of extrapolate something deeper, something more meaningful than the surface level that we go through every single day, right? Something, I don't know, it is something almost existential, right, that I've been looking for. And I don't think it will ever be found, but I found peace in a lot of ways. So that's, yeah, I'm kind of coming from that angle today in this video. So let's get to it, right? Number one, this one's probably going to be the most obvious, but most things in life in moderation, right? Like I've drowned in excess in so many different areas in life, right? And while the pleasure was amazing, it was also fleeting basically every single time, right? These fleeting moments of extreme satisfaction can be nice at times, but oftentimes if you drown in excess, I mean, there's a reason, and I'm not trying to make this all about money. I mean, it could apply to so many different things, right? Any substance, you know, alcohol or drugs or whatever, sex, it can apply to money, right? Once you have these things, there needs to be something else connected with it, right? Otherwise, you'll find yourself in 6 months or a year or 5 years down the road just not feeling fulfilled and wondering why, because you've achieved what you thought you wanted, you know? And I found that that's not the way. It doesn't come with any long-term sense of fulfillment. Number two is don't be afraid. You know, this is a big one. Fear dictates so much of all of our lives, whether we recognize it or not. And a lot of it comes down to kind of society, right? In the culture which we all grew up in, which kind of defines, right, everything from school. And I'm not like anti-establishment or anti-school. I'm not a radical in that sense. But when you think about it, everything is already kind of molded for you, for all of us in our lives, right? From an early age, we're taught like this is kind of how your life is probably going to go, right? But the truth is that's not how your life has to go, right? What's good for somebody might not be good for you, right? For somebody else. And part of that comes from fear. And a lot of it's tied to money, right? Like if I take this chance, I might not have stability. If I don't do this, I might not have money. When honestly, like that is what, and again, I'm not trying to sound like super radical here, but that's what keeps us workers working for other people who are getting absolutely filthy rich and taking advantage of the workers in life, you know? On a macro level, don't be afraid to take chances in your life. It could be with your career. It could be with your creativity, who you are, you know, expressing yourself, right? It could be anything, right? Do not be afraid, right? Fear is such a massive... I did go to a psychiatrist at one point in my life, and I had just lost my mother and then my brother, and I was in a really bad spot. I left my engagement, and after, God, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of talking, she said that your life is dominated by fear. She told me that. And I was like, wait a sec, I'm not afraid of anything. What are you talking about, And then I really let it sink in, and I realized that she was right. A lot of my life was deep down to its core. I was reacting because of some sort of fear, some sort of manifestation of fear of taking risks and chances and just doing what I want to do, what I feel is the right thing to do. But there's all this structure around me that's kind of keeping me in my spot. And I think that getting away from that, taking those chances is really important. Number 3 is continue learning. This is such a massive one, man. When we're done with school, I feel like, at least I can speak for myself, right? I almost felt like, okay, well, there it is. I put in my whatever the heck it was, I put in my 15 years and I'm ready to go. I'm done. I'm done. But the truth is maybe about 5 years later, I found it very boring not to be learning anymore, Not that I wasn't learning a thing here or there. Obviously, you read the news and whatever, but I stopped actually being curious about things for a while, And once I refound that and I reclaimed that interest, oh man, such satisfaction came from it. Now, listen, we're the only generation in the history of humanity, in the history of everything that we know in the universe to be existence, that whether you're rich or, for a lot of people, poor, you have something that nobody has had before. And I don't think that we truly respect this or we truly appreciate this fact. And that is everything you'd all ever want to know, everything at the palm of your hands. You can learn about anything, I can learn about the history of filmography if I wanted to, We can learn anybody. Think about that. Think about the knowledge and the information that has come with the technological revolution of the last 30 years or whatever. Think about what a game changer that is. We're living through it and we don't even appreciate it. It's massive. It's massive, especially if you're young enough watching this video that you've never lived any other way. Let me tell you, it's unbelievable. If you had to go throw away internet, throw away your phone, you'd have to go find an encyclopedia and hope it had the information that you were looking for. Now you can know about anything instantly. It's the big equalizer, and between the haves and the have-nots. Take advantage. Continue learning about things that interest you. Number 4, be physically uncomfortable, right? Sometimes going through life with a little bit of pain here and there physically is actually a really good thing. It really cultivates strength, some sort of stoicism, whether it's a cold shower or going to the gym or joining that fitness camp for the first time, making yourself uncomfortable physically oftentimes leads to a happier mental state when you're done. It might be the endorphins. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. It might be the endorphins that come out. It might be, I don't know, but going through, living life. I forgot that Pixar movie that everybody's fat and in these floating chairs and drinking milkshakes. Is that Wall-E? That's what it is. All right, I had to look it up. So, but anyway, guys, I think that we're slowly going down that road, right? Think about just 100 years ago, right? I mean, we had to go out and actually, barter for food and things like that and exchange our services. Now everything's a lot easier for everybody all the time, which isn't necessarily a great thing. So to compensate for that, put yourself through a little bit of discomfort. Number 5, stop blaming other people, right? Man, a lot of people blame other things or people for anything unfortunate that happens in their life, for any shortcoming. Take responsibility. I feel like it's human nature to an extent, but I feel like, again, I might be the old man talking here, but I feel like, it's gotten worse and worse and worse. It's never your fault. When you blame others or complain, you're really not taking responsibility for anything. And not only that, but you're not learning. You're not learning and becoming a better person and becoming wiser. Instead, you're just trying to displace that frustration or that blame for whatever happens to you in life, you know? Sure, a lot is out of our control, but a lot also, even if something unfortunate happens to you, oftentimes it can be traced back to a decision that you made a while ago that put you in the position that you're in right now. Take that responsibility. Resist the urge to blame other things for your failures or your shortcomings. Please. It's a really, really tough one to do, but try. Number 6, stop being so offended. Oof. You know, like recognize that all these forces are constantly at play to make you angry. You know, whether it be friends or family members or news channels or social media, everybody's always mad about something pretty much all the time. You know, I guess it started probably with the 24-hour news cycle where, you know, it used to be like Walter Cronkite would come out in America at least and deliver the daily news. Pretty unbiased, quick synopsis, there you go. Now that there's a 24-hour news cycle, it means that they have to come up with something to talk about for 24 hours a day. That's a lot of fluff added on. And then they found out, you know what? The ratings aren't that good when we just try to deliver little seeds and nuggets of the news for 24 hours straight. We need to figure something else out. So they figured out that, you know, if they make people angry, they can get their attention a lot longer, thus more money, right? And the same thing in all of marketing to some extent, right? Be always, always vigilant and on guard about people out there trying to tell you that you should be angry or you that you should be offended. Sure, if you feel angry or offended, that's human nature, of course, and sometimes it is justified. But don't let other people control your emotional state. I mean, there's so many people in my life that are walking around constantly kind of pissed off about something. And if it's not one thing, it's another thing. It's constant. And I almost want to shake them and say, you don't have to live like this. You know, to quote Marcus Aurelius, the quality of one's happiness is the quality of one's thoughts. You have the autonomy to control your own thoughts. Don't let anybody take that away from you. Number 7, recognize the power of the moment, man. Oof, this is a big one. It took me a long time and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, right? But this moment is all we really have. We can all agree on that, right? The future is uncertain. The past is already done. Can't go back and change the past. And at least after this recording, we cannot go to the future either. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean like throw away everything and live an Epicurean life and just go out and just party hard 24/7. No, it means recognize how special this moment is. If you're out there feeling crappy, if you're out there in despair, then sometimes you can alleviate that by just recognizing how improbable it is that you're actually even here, watching this video, watching this random gamer YouTuber tell you how to be happy. I mean, think about it. The universe is like 13.7 billion years old. Earth is 4.6 billion years old, and humanity, at least the current state of humanity, of Homo sapiens, has been around for at least 200,000 years, okay? 200,000 years, billions and billions of years. Think about the chain of events that had to happen, starting with you and then rewinding back to your parents and your grandparents, your great-grandparents, and just keep going and going and going and going before, you know, Homo sapiens even existed. Think about all the crazy, improbable odds of us even being right now, being able to enjoy this moment. Think of how sheer, like, crazy that is, right? It's, in a way, it's a gift. It's a crazy gift to even be here and think about it. Your loved ones in your life, your friends, your family members, you know, whoever, your partner, think about it this way, man. Like, what are the odds that you met them, that you even exist in this moment together? It is crazy. Try to appreciate the moment. And there's a certain amount of peace that we can get in kind of recognizing and maybe even meditating a little bit on how insignificant we are, but yet in the terms of the vast universe around us, but also how crazy and lucky we are to actually be experiencing it. It's really insane when you stop to think about it. Number 8, avoid negativity. So we all know it, guys. People who are constantly crappy people, right, around you, constantly negative, constantly hating, constantly stressed, constantly blaming others, all the stuff that we've already talked about a little bit, right? Well, eventually over time, that old adage is right. You are the people that you surround yourself with. And of course, again, we have autonomy to change that, Try to distance yourself from negative people and try to be around people that you admire, And that might take a little courage. It might take you being uncomfortable, as we spoke about earlier, to put yourself in a new social circle. It's not easy, but it's definitely warranted if you find yourself surrounded by people who don't express the values that will make you happy as a person. Number 9, set a daily schedule and try to get an early start. Now, we all have our lives and our different responsibilities, so it might not be possible for you to wake up super early every day. But I guess what I'm saying is, in whatever early means for you, try to get an early start to the day. You ever sleep in like later than you're supposed to, and you wake up, and no matter how productive you are, you always feel stressed out and kind of on edge because you just got a late start to the day? Conversely, have you ever woke up really early and just got a bunch of stuff done right away? And no matter what the day brings, you're kind of like, yeah, well, I'm rocking, I'm good because I got an early start on the day. Try to make that happen as part of your normal routine, your normal schedule, right? Try to be extra productive at the beginnings of your day. And you're going to feel better towards the end of your day, towards the middle of your day as well, right? Setting a schedule is something I started doing maybe like 5 years ago. It's nothing too complex. I just have like literally a notepad on my computer, like note dot whatever the heck. And I just break my day down, right? So I wake up every day and I say, okay, I think this is going to take X long. I always give myself a little bit extra time. I think this will take this long. This will take this long. And I always put the small menial tasks on there too, so I don't forget them, So, hey, call dad. Not that I call that a lot, but or whatever, right? Like little things, so you just don't forget them. And then it will feel good when you knock them off your list. And I think there's still a lot of space for spontaneity, and you should still schedule that in, right? Hey, 5 hours open, but at least you kind of have everything, structured. That's going to cause you to be a lot less stressed when you already know what's coming in your day. You can already kind of visualize that, and it's going to cause you to feel extra productive as well. Did I ever say that? Well, either way, you're going to feel productive and happy, hopefully. Number 10, learn a new skill. Find a new hobby, learn a new skill. You'll feel so good after you do it, right? You can be old or young, and it's never too late, right? Learn how to do yoga, learn how to play an instrument, learn how to fix your car. There's YouTube videos now, again, for everything. You can learn anything right on YouTube. It's great. Again, going back to that information access that we have that we don't really appreciate. Learn a skill and you're going to feel like a better person. It just happens. Watch. Try learning something and come back. Try learning to do something and come back to me and let me know, wow, I actually did feel good, right? It's going to feel good. Number 11, give back. Man, you know what brings true, lasting happiness? Is giving back. Buy a coffee for somebody in back of you in line at the drive-thru or whatever. Give to a charity, give a little bit to a charity. If you can't afford to give anything to a charity, donate your time to somebody who needs it, soup kitchen, anything, right? There's so many things that you can do out there, right? You can even Google how to volunteer in my area. And there'll be a bunch of different things you can do and do one, see what you think. If you don't like it, try something different. There's all these bad things constantly being thrown at us in life, constantly. Again, it goes back to social media, news, and everything, right? And it can kind of like envelop you, and you just think the world's doomed. But reality is different. There's also a ton of people out there doing good. But you know what doesn't make headlines? You know what doesn't get people watching or keep them watching? Oh, let's hear this story about this guy doing good. No. Let's hear about this guy who murdered people. Everybody's like, yes. And listen, I'm not perfect. I'm also more interested in hearing about a local murder than a local guy who's donating an hour of his time to something. But that is human nature. You have to be aware of it. There's a lot of people out there doing good. And when really bad things happen in life, I'll quote Fred Rogers, right? I forgot the exact quote, but something to the effect of, when bad things happen, look for the helpers. There's always people helping. And it's true. And you can be one of them. And you'll feel better about it too. You will feel so good It's like what is it called? Selfish altruism. It's not a bad thing because you're doing good, but it's okay to feel good about it too. Don't feel guilty about feeling good about doing good, you know? Try it. Number 12, practice gratitude, you know? Focus on what you do have, not what you don't have. And you have a lot, you know, you have a lot. At least you have the opportunity to have a lot. You have love, you have your family, you have friends. If you don't, you can put yourself out there and do that. You know, I know a lot of people are lonely right now and you feel like you might not have a lot. But you need to change, like Marcus Aurelius again, you need to control how you feel and how you act, right? And hold yourself accountable for going out there and putting yourself out there a little bit more. You know, it's not easy, but you got to do it. Appreciation, right? These things are okay to have in excess. No one's ever going to feel lousy appreciating things or being grateful and thankful for things or reminding people in your life that you're thankful for them and you're grateful to have them, you know? And then last but not least, enjoy the arts and nature. Even the most pessimistic philosophers in the history of the world, right? I'm talking about Schopenhauer, talking about Kant, right? They say there's two escapes from the absurdity that is life, right? And this is adopting a very nihilistic worldview, right? Like there is no meaning in anything. What's the point of anything? Even under those circumstances, taking the most pessimistic worldview that we can adopt as humans, even under those circumstances, there's still ways to escape, right? There's still ways to extrapolate meaning, purpose, and happiness from life, even as a 100% diehard nihilist, right? And those two ways are through nature and through the arts, right? So use the power of those at your disposal. Use the power. Now, everybody's a little bit different. For me, I love, love, love music. If I can put music on, or better yet, see a live musician, ooh, that just hits that spot where I'm just like, oh yeah, like this is it. This is live. This is like, you ever had that feeling where you're just like, you might be sitting out there at a restaurant or something and someone's playing live music, not even like your favorite concert of all time. You ever just kind of sit there and you're like, wow, this is awesome. You know, like this is just that euphoria, you know? And if you haven't, that's cool. Maybe you're not a music person, but there is something there somewhere in music, or not music, but the dancing, music, sports, right? These are all the arts, right? The fine arts of life. Or just art, right? And then there's nature, being close to nature, being alone in nature, meditating in nature, right? Like all these things as well, gardening, things like that, right? And everybody's a little bit different, but you have something. If you don't think you do, you do. You just haven't found it yet, right? But try to find some alleviation from all these burdens that we have in our day-to-day through those outlets, through those vehicles, right? Because again, I truly believe that. I truly believe that those two categories can help us feel better and escape, especially when we need it the most. So there we go, guys. That's my quick video on how to be happy, at least in the words of yours truly, from all the research that I've done and the experience that I've gone through. And again, I was going to share this video just with my kiddo. So Charlie, I love you if you're watching this someday. But I thought that maybe a few of you guys could, even if you already knew it, could be reminded of some of this stuff as well. So much love, guys, especially if you need it out there. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.